Friends, please join me in welcome Mr. Shankar Vanavarayar, who is an accomplished business and organization leader, a spirited pattern of art, history, and heritage, a successful entrepreneur, and an inspired educationalist. As the national chair of Young Indians in 2011-12, he led the organization to various multilaterals that helped the organization grow. He is the chairman CII Tamil Nadu State Council, Executive Director ABT Industries Limited, and President Kumar Guru Institutions. Friends, please welcome Shankar. Friends, now we have with us His Royal Highness Prince Fahad bin Mansour bin Nasser bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, the President of the Saudi G20 Startup 20 Official Engagement Group, the President of Saudi G20 Young Entrepreneur Alliance, and the founder of Entrepreneurship Vision, an NGO focusing on empowering the development of entrepreneurship ecosystem in Saudi and bringing it with the world. A serial entrepreneur and investor with a track record of successful number of entrepreneurial ventures in different industries such as fintech, social, logistic, tourism, entertainment, real estate, and more. Friends, please welcome him. Joining them on stage is Tommy Edward, who is an award-winning serial entrepreneur, passionate about making the future of world seamless and accessible through technology. As the founder and CEO of Tedbury, co-founder and CEO of Tech1M, her experience cut across leading digital transformation solution for forward-thinking businesses, with the mission of making the tech talent global regardless of their age, race, location, and solving the challenges of global talent hiring and education. She founded Tech1M, a talent matching platform for sourcing, hiring, paying, and managing global trends.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I first want to say to some friends that I remember from the Alliance in the past, but many, many new friends from around the world who've come to this great, amazing, billion-plus country. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to all of you, and it's such a pleasure. And when you get called to such an event, all of us have multiple expectations. But when you are called to chair a session or moderate a session, then you're also thinking how the multiplicity has to be answered through a session. But then, when I was invited, I didn't know initially who would be the speakers and who would be the panelists. But then today, when I got to know a few days ago, then I said, okay, my session's going to be easy. A, because we have thought leadership. We have people in influence, people of impact, people of power, people of ideas. And I think what is very important for this alliance is we are all gathered here not for simple reasons. We are not gathered here only as young people, but we are gathered for a greater cause. For me, it's such a pleasure to share this panel with His Royal Highness, Prince Fahad, and certainly our friend from the UK, who's brought in dynamism and color into this dais, and somebody who has an inspiring start and achievement in entrepreneurship. But I am going to take just a few minutes to set the context. I set the context for this evening, and this is a topic that all of us are very aware of. There is nothing that I can add specially or new, but I just wanted to set the context sitting as an Indian in India in a global alliance. Friends, entrepreneurship is what brings us together. So-called young sometimes, some of us want to be young, some of us are young, some of us are very, very young. I also know there are young students in this audience. And I think bringing together young thought, young leadership into this room is powerful. The world of entrepreneurship originally is about making money and profit, is about making wealth. But the new world of entrepreneurship is about solutions, is about ideas, is about changing the world we live in. We live in this country, and I'm sure you're looking at the news. Yesterday, the Chandrayaan-3 project, where India has launched its project to have an unmanned mission into the moon, its third attempt at one of the lowest in cost. It is going to be one of the most innovative projects which will land in a part of the moon which nobody else has ever. But at the same time, friends, we also see in the headlines a part of Delhi is still in floods. Entrepreneurship is not about celebrating one part of it. Entrepreneurship is going to be about solutions. Day before yesterday, we watched an amazing project called NEOM. And many of us saw it with amazement and saying, this is possibility. This is innovation. I want us in this session to think about and talk about entrepreneurship as a force for good, and the Alliance is all about that. Bringing people together who will create value, who will create vision, who will create possibilities, and who will create solutions. And where else to do this but India? A land of 1 billion people, but many more billion dreams, where millions are thriving to come out of their realities. We are 242 million people who are calling themselves young, and even after 30 years, we will be the youngest nation. So this session is going to be very important because it is about entrepreneurship and the future of the world. So without taking more time, as a moderator, as a chair of a session, what you minimum have to do is to stick to time, involve all of you, ensure you're all with us, but all of us will vision this future. First, I'm going to take the honor of inviting His Royal Highness Prince Fahad to address us, to talk to us with his thought leadership, with his vision, with his ideas. I had the pleasure of having dinner the day before yesterday and chatting for a few minutes. And I think the vision with which they come with a new world, with an open idea, with wanting to connect, but to build the world that they will live in, but also build it along with others. I think this is powerful. And the delegation here has certainly made a mark and impact, and I'm very happy that this alliance is building new bridges. Your Royal Highness, first I'd request you to say a few words, and I believe you can use the podium. Thank you so much.
Distinguished guests, who has attended the G20 YEA Saudi Virtual Summit back in 2020? From that day till today, I'm personally attached to this alliance. Do you all recognize the value of the G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance? Look at this amazing audience from 30 rich nations that have opportunities, beautiful cultures, and lively delegates, flying across borders to be together, unlocking the potential of the G20 YEA. Thanks to the Indian G20 YEA, YI, and CII for making this happen. Thank you for the wonderful hospitality and congratulations for accomplishing this successful summit. Today, I am proudly standing on behalf of 40 Saudi stars that are shining in front of me. Everything you see here is done by them. Everything here is done by them, and for that I would like to thank each and every one of them for being a valuable member of the Saudi delegation. Each delegate in this room brings something special from the entities they are proudly representing. We are Biban, which means doors. Each one of us is an open door to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And we are not waiting for you to knock on our doors. We are out here to welcome you to the Kingdom of Opportunities. Biban is a great global entrepreneurial exhibition in Riyadh that is organized by our strategic partner Munshaat, the Small and Medium Enterprises Authority in Saudi. Biban is opening its doors for all of you to be with us. And on their behalf, we are inviting all delegates from the G20 nations and the world to attend. Not only that, there is LEAP, the Techpreneur Global Exhibition, that is being held also in Riyadh. And this event is the most attended tech event in the world, with over 172,000 attendees from 183 countries. LEAP is organized by our strategic partner MCIT, the Ministry of Communications and Information Technology, that is also inviting you to join us in the next edition. Both of these massive events are created for you entrepreneurs. What about investors? Well, the umbrella of Invest Saudi is here for you. They are powered by our partners, the Ministry of Investment, which will cover both entrepreneurs and investors. Whether you're looking to invest in Saudi, relocate, expand, start a new business, they will assist you through your journey. They are here today with us to make sure you get all the support needed to be in Saudi. We all talked about the potential we have for today, but what about the future? Any answers? Yes, NEOM, the one and only futuristic city that is calling for dreamers, innovators, and creators, which defines entrepreneurship. Yes, this is the nation of entrepreneurs, and you are invited to participate in building this giga project and join more than 1,000 entrepreneurs that are already in NEOM. I would like to thank our main partner, NEOM, for their unlimited support, for being beautifully present in the InnoFest exhibition, and for hosting the summit's opening dinner. I would also like to thank Invest Saudi for hosting the G20 Indian delegation in Saudi back in May, and for empowering the Saudi G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance delegation in this summit, as well as many other key players in the Saudi entrepreneurship ecosystem, such as the Ministry of Environment, Water and Agriculture, National Industrial Development and Logistic Programs, Quality of Life Program, SME Bank, venture builders and other private sectors that joined us. And finally, a special thanks to the Indian Young Entrepreneurs Alliance that took the first step towards Saudi to show us what opportunities has India for us. And because of our valuable visit, we came here with 40 delegates and participated in the InnoFest exhibition. The Indian visit to Saudi made this happen, made our presence happen to be this big in the G20 Young Entrepreneurs Summit 2023. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to showcase the Saudi potential in your summit. And we're looking forward to have this level of participation from all the G20 countries in the Brazilian and South African summit. The greatest appreciation is to His Majesty King Salman and to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for supporting the Saudi entrepreneurship ecosystem under the Saudi Vision 2030. Until we meet again in Brazil, stay tuned for more impactful surprises between Saudi and India. And before ending, on behalf of the Saudi delegation, I would like to invite all the delegates to have a group picture with us in the Invest Saudi and NEOM's booth after we take the group picture over here at the stage. Thank you so much.
Looks like we already have multiple invitations for alliances and more, but certainly with the futuristic NEOM, and I'm only curious to see how much more is there to see, but hopefully this picture will be one that will be remembered for many more opportunities in the future. Thank you so much, Your Royal Highness, for your presentation, for your thoughts, and actually building so much of positivity into the idea of an alliance and how young people and entrepreneurs will bring together. Next, we have Tommy, my friend from the UK, who will talk to us for a few minutes on her thoughts, her ideas about entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurship is a force for good from the UK, representing more and her experience so far. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, G20 YEA. How is everyone doing? Okay, great. For me, it's an honor to share the stage with Your Royal Highness and also to my new friend that I've just made. And I think we're discussing an important topic, the future of entrepreneurship. And may I to say that where is the best place to discuss that, if not at the G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance, where we have dynamic and wonderful entrepreneurs all in the same room, gathered together in 30 different countries. Guys, that deserves a round of applause. So let's now get into the topic. I feel like I'm going to speak from an entrepreneurial perspective. So I've been an entrepreneur basically all my life, and I've seen the space change every single time. Right now, we are in an era that we can never forget. It's an era where technology is rapidly changing the way we do things. We have, we can't ignore AI. We can't ignore what is coming with IoT. We can't ignore the fact that we are now more interested in things that are sustainable. We can't ignore the fact that climate change is upon us, and all of it are intertwined. We are the entrepreneurs that are changing this force. We are the entrepreneurs that are changing the way the next generation sees what they see. And there is no better time to do that than now. Now, in the UK, there's so much that is happening. The UK is putting so much money and so much effort into making technology one of the forefronts of the country. And we're seeing people really looking not just into technology in terms of hardware, but we are now looking at technology in terms of software. We're looking at, when we talk about artificial intelligence, we know artificial intelligence can be a good thing, but can also be extremely dangerous. And this is where we start to think about ethical way of using AI. So I think what the future is going to see going forward is not just developing things and saying, okay, yes, I want to be a tech entrepreneur. I've heard about OpenAI, I just create something. But I think it's about how do we do this, thinking about sustainability, thinking about ethically, and also thinking about inclusion. I think that is the way of the future. That is where we're going. And for us to get there faster, it's important for us to collaborate. There has never been a better time to be alive. Right now, COVID showed us the negative, but also showed us what was positive. The positivity I see in it is the fact that it has made the world super connected. The world is now a global place. You could have someone working in one remote village in India, provided they have the right infrastructure, and actually be working for a company in the United States. This was not something that was common, but COVID showed us that we could do this at scale. Everyone had no choice. We were locked in for 2 years, and we can come out with that either accepting the positivity of what that has brought to us or live with the negativity. I believe that we choose, and those of us in the room, this shows that we choose to accept the positivity of what, how we could leverage technology and use this for good. So I feel like we are now living in a world where collaboration is the key word, globalization is come to stay, remote work is going nowhere, and you have to think outside your borders. How do we think beyond our country and actually start to partner with other people, leveraging what already exists in terms of technology, but going beyond technology, making sure that for whatever thing we are creating, we are also responsible to make it sustainable and to make it something that people will be proud of, doesn't affect the climate, and all of that are things that every entrepreneur right now, you now have that duty of care to not just develop something that helps people, but develop something that helps the global good. Thanks.
Thank you, Tommy. And I think with your experience in technology and also bringing in an alliance together representing the UK, and I think you've beautifully touched upon how the possibilities are there. Now, friends, we will get into our question answer session, and I have a few questions to ask both our panelists on behalf of you, and I'm assuming some of these questions are on your mind. While all of us are here in the name of an alliance, but we are still representing different countries. We are representing various countries around the world, and it's interesting that three of us, if I am representing a part of Asia, we have somebody representing the Middle East, and we have you representing Europe, but also of African heritage. So it's amazing that we are together. Maybe we are leaving out the Americas a bit, but then it's okay, and we have enough friends in the audience to represent. While we are divided as borders, political borders, individual economies, separate companies or ideas that we have, how do you think entrepreneurship or young entrepreneurs specifically can be the bridge for these possibilities? I know, Tommy, you just touched upon how technology can be, but I want to ask His Royal Highness on what he thinks could be ways that we can work together. While we will retain our cultural identities, our political borders might actually define us, and our individual business aspirations are there. But any thoughts on how, as young entrepreneurs, we are here as an alliance to celebrate this, but how can we build this further?
First of all, I think entrepreneurship doesn't have borders. And we're all here speaking the same language. We're here to make big things happen. We're here to change the world. And we're here to make a great impact on humanity. There is a lot of things that can help each other. I think one of them is this summit, but how can we all be together forever is what we are looking for. Today, as an alliance, we want to be more connected. We want to be supporting each other, not only in these 3 days, but we want to support each other every day. And I believe there is a lot of solutions that can be done to do that. And I'm sure the alliance is already working on something and already have a lot of platforms that can have us all there. One of our Saudi delegates, Mansour, he's a founder of Exponur. It's a platform that brings entrepreneurs together. And when he told me about the idea, I told him, why only Expo Noors? Expo is every 5 years. It's boring for entrepreneurs to wait all that time. And we discussed how can we create a platform to have all of us under one umbrella, all the organizations, all the people that want to change the world. And I believe this is one of the easiest way for us to start, and there is a lot more.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Tommy, the same question, but from a take that as a tech entrepreneur, as a woman, as somebody in the UK, how do you think you were able to manage some of those things? Because you also spoke about how technology has connected. And possibly, and you spoke about an Indian example of a village, somebody, how they can work with somebody in the UK, and this is something that happens so commonly in India. But a lot of the world is still not there. How do you think political, cultural, individual identities, differences, and sometimes limitations, entrepreneurship can break or build?
All right, thanks for the question. Like His Royal Highness said, in terms of entrepreneurs, we are the same regardless of where we are. And I feel like there's so much that we could do in making sure that the world is connected. Yes, like I mentioned, technology could help, but individually, I think collaboration is that word. There is so much more partnerships that can be done. I'll give an example. A startup duo happened earlier today, and all I could see was that some of them actually battling together could actually be partners of each other in those sort of ways. And it's like identifying what you could do to collaborate with another existing system or existing entrepreneur could also be one of the key ways. But then you touched on political aspects as well. There is no way we could do so much without getting help from the government, without making sure that we know that we are rightfully funded, without knowing that we have those sort of backends. So I think with those backends coming into play, and many more organizations and countries seeing that, okay, this is what entrepreneurs need to be able to have a much more interconnected world, I think we'll get there faster. But then there's another topic on inclusion in itself. I feel like there's a missing part, which is, and I know that we have moved some steps forward, but I think that there's still so much we need to do. Diversity and inclusion brings a whole lot into an organization. It brings a fresh perspective. It brings a whole way of thinking outside the box, and it allows us to innovate faster. So I think if every organization and every entrepreneur starts to think about things in those lights, not only are you building something, but also you're thinking about how diversity and inclusion can help you, how to engage other entrepreneurs in the things you're building, how to speak out and ask for help. I'm an entrepreneur, and I know that entrepreneurship can be lonely. Sometimes you're just there in your own head. But if you have, communities like the one he's building, and you have people that you could actually speak to, platforms like G20 YEA, you are connected with a ton of entrepreneurs. Speak out, say what you have, you find other people that could help you, connect with them. When people ask, be very quick to be able to offer solutions if you can. And I go by my policy, I give first, and then I wait to receive.
Very well said, and I like the way you said it can be lonely as an entrepreneur, but then you said voice out your ideas, but you give and get. A very powerful message. Thank you for that. Your Royal Highness, in a recent HBR article, which talks a lot about Saudi Arabia's entrepreneurship and the Vision 2030 and activities like the World Entrepreneurship Cup that Saudi Arabia is hosting. These are inspiring ideas. But for many of us, we think of the nation, the kingdom, as a cultural heritage of many strong aspects. But there is a new vision. There is a young vision. And we can clearly see from the delegation that we've been seeing for the last 2 days. But do you want to talk to us about what is a compelling reason for many entrepreneurs here to think about the kingdom or the ideas that is getting built as a compelling reason to work? And what is your thoughts on that?
So today when I'm talking about Saudi Arabia, I'll say it all started with a vision. And if we look at who's behind this vision, is an ambitious entrepreneurial mindset that is leading this great vision. And in my opinion, that was the beginning of the change that made us sit today over here and look at all these opportunities and try to engage with them. We also had a lot of programs that helped us to make entrepreneurship easier in Saudi, made people to have the confidence to move out from just finding jobs to creating jobs. There are a lot of people that didn't know about entrepreneurship, so the awareness was very important. We, as Saudis, have a lot to give to the world and as well to learn from the world. We are here to share this with everyone, and I believe that there are a lot of opportunities that can happen in a cross-border, bilateral, or as well inviting people to be in Saudi. My main thing, as Tommy has mentioned, is that it always starts from the government, and then, of course, the private sector, and then the people themselves. And the president chair of the G20 YEA South Africa said something that is important about inclusion. And she said that if everyone is supporting you and you don't take the support and you support yourself, then no one is going to make you take this forward. And I think that this is the most important thing when we talk about people. People today need to change themselves before changing the world. And that is the first point from people's perspective. And I believe that if we talk from here till tomorrow, we will not end of how can we improve things, but I hope that we can share as much as we can in short words.
I think the aspect that both of you are sort of stressing is how such an alliance, how people come together and more bridges, more alliances get built is very powerful. And I think this is the reason why I think every year some of you have come for such an event, and more should happen. Tommy, in the conversation where you spoke to us about this is the best time to be, and you spoke about COVID, right? And the possibilities are limitless, and in the next room we are seeing innovations that one couldn't have imagined, even we couldn't have imagined 10 years ago. But at the same time, we are seeing over 1 billion people, and to be honest, the 1 billion people are largely in the Asias and in Africa, and are still in poverty. Climate change is enormous, and it's on our face, and to be honest, we somehow think even the floods here could be related to that. All this, and entrepreneurship, aggression, growth, and possibility, what do you think should be the value systems for the new future that young entrepreneurs need to have? Because it can't be, the new future has to be different.
Yeah.
What are you?
Yeah, thanks for that. I feel like there's no way we can leave people behind anymore. Because, and I think it's reflecting back at the points that I made. The world is a connected world. The world is global. Global is here. We're living. It's no longer my country and I. It's now pretty much my country and the world. And when we are, the way the world is right now, we can't leave not just people in poverty, but also the aging population. All of it is important. So it's like you can't leave people in the rural areas and feel like, oh, because they don't have access to this, we need to, there's nothing we could do. But I think that the way we could change this is education. And that's why for everything that we create, we need to find a way to be inclusive. And inclusion doesn't mean that inclusion goes beyond race. inclusion goes beyond sex. Inclusion goes into, the age. We're thinking about people that are older. You're thinking about people that are literate and people that are not literate. How will they understand what you've created? So whatever complexity that we've created, we need to find a way to simplify it and get the message to those down the line. And without doing that, we are always going to be neglecting some set of the population, and is always going to have a backlog. And how do we then solve those sort of backlog? So I feel like education is the key. If we individually, and myself inclusive, figure out that the things that we've created, how exactly do we explain it in plain language? And how do we make sure that people can understand that and create, if it's multiple languages, if it's making sure that there's a way they could ask questions and get answers, if it's creating contacts that they could actually be able to contact you in a simpler form and be able to get answers to that, or if it's taking it to them and making sure that they understand that this solution exists. I think with that, and we will get closer. Now, doing it yourself might be difficult, and this is why the emphasis I've been making on collaboration is always helpful. How have people done this? And how exactly can you do this for what you're building and the ideas you're thinking next? I think that is the way to move this forward so we don't let people behind. But also, like we mentioned, the government also have things to do. But we can't leave everything to the government, because we are the ones creating the future we want to live in, and we have to show by example how we want that future to be.
Thank you very much. When I think about entrepreneurship, and I think sometimes, what do you need? How do you become an entrepreneur? You have a powerful idea. You have a great opportunity. You have capital. You have money to invest. And you have a network to work on. So idea, opportunity, capital, and a network. I want to ask you, Royal Highness, what do you think comes first? An idea, an opportunity, the capital to invest, or a network to work on?
We all know that they're all important, and choosing between them would be, I think, a little bit hard. But I think in each option that you gave me, there is some important things that you need to take into consideration. For example, today we can think of a great idea, but we're not in the right place to do this idea. Each region and each country and each city has its own strengths that you can build on. And there are some sectors that are matured enough for people to jump in, or else they might have an idea and don't have investors that can take this idea to the next level. And regarding the network, we saw the presentation of the six, I forgot what was the name of it, that each person have 6 people that can lead them to each other and connect them to each other. So I think that this solved the problem of the networking and the network for everyone. And if you want to reach to anything, you should be able to reach to it, but you just need to have the courage, you need to have the patience, and you need to have the yes, I think the courage and the patience is the most important thing, and you need to have the drive that will lead you to this, because if you're gonna stay in your comfort zone, you're not going anywhere. And then I think that regarding the capital is important. However, there is a lot of people that made it without capital. And one of them is an Indian unicorn that's called Zoho. So for me, this company made it without capital. I'm not saying that we can all do it without capital, but it's not impossible. And if you have capital, then that's going to make it even easier. I've seen a lot of startups that succeeded because of having capital in the place they're in. For example, like Silicon Valley. And I think the whole ecosystem is interconnected with each other, and it should have the same importance for anyone to reach to where they want to reach.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Friends, I think the screen in front of me, which you don't see, says time's up, but I'm still going to take a minute more. I have just one question which I want a one-line answer from both our panelists. This is an alliance, and this is a meeting of an alliances, many alliances, and we will meet again. We will meet again maybe sometime next year. What do you think, as for alliances, and Tommy, you head an alliance, and both of you are leaders for alliances. What do you think you want to tell your country, your alliance, and the Young Entrepreneurs Alliance as a whole? What should we do in the 1 year? What should we come back for entrepreneurship? What is that one short message that we should all be working on in the year ahead?
Okay, I don't know about shots, but we'll go for it. I think that if there's anything to take from the summit to come, it's like you could look at the work the Indians have done. This has been an amazing, amazing, amazing summit. And I think that if there's anything, it should just hype us up for what is to come next. I feel Brazil is going to equally be awesome, but I think from now till then, what we should do is continue to build your networks. The networks they're looking for is right in this room. Continue to collaborate with each other, be each other's keeper as much as you can. Speak to someone when you are lonely, and just say something out, and you never know who will be out there to help you. But importantly, I think that we need to continue to be a community. We need to continue to look forward and become our brothers' keepers. I feel with that, if we take those sort of energy into Brazil, we're going to have another level of brilliant and magnificent summit.
Thank you, Your Royal Highness.
So before ending this panel session, I think, of course, this summit had a lot of international connections and networking, but that wasn't it. Today, in our Saudi delegation, we actually, some of us didn't know each other, and we got together, and now some people are starting to do businesses together, and this all goes back to the word alliance. So today, thank you to this alliance for bringing the delegates together and for bringing everyone together over here. And I believe that if I have one short message to our country, I would say that we are ready, and this is the era of entrepreneurship, and we are ready for it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the future of entrepreneurship is truly a force for good. And I think the future of entrepreneurship is loud and clear. We as young people, young leaders, young entrepreneurs, and the world will be filled with positivity. And I think if the G20, the B20 hears this positivity in the room, alliances will get built, so much more will happen, solutions will happen, millions will come out of poverty, but then thousands of people are going to be inspired with our identities, but inspired to work together. And I think this is the message coming out, and to have two panelists speaking about their experience, their vision, their ideas, the possibilities. And I think what was wonderful was that it was real, it was inspiring, and it had evidences of things happening. And I think entrepreneurship is not about an idea, it is about doing. It is not about doing, but it's about impact. And I think it was truly inspiring. Thank you for being a wonderful audience. I want to thank you, Your Royal Highness, for this session. And I really enjoyed this conversation. And Tommy, look forward to building this. And I think as we go, hopefully we'll all be together again to discuss furthermore, report back what we've done further, and alliances that shall happen. entrepreneurship, a force for good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks very much to our panel. I'm now going to call upon Ronak, Pallavi, and Anuj to join us on stage so we can present gifts to our panelists. You guys could join me up here, please.